Hello, everybody. My name is Hastur, and today we are going to be talking about uh, this guy right up here. His name is Rupert Lowe. He is the founder of the Restore Britain Party. It's This happened just the other day. I saw it on a leaflet video earlier today, and I thought, you know what? I needed, I need, I need to watch this. I want to watch this. Give my honest reaction. Uh, but as yes, as an American, but as someone who appreciates like kind of the origin of the country, I can appreciate someone trying to bring back what Britain once was. Britain is the grandfather of America. Even the founding fathers said that they have based their law and their systems of governance on like aspects of Great Britain. So as someone who appreciates American history, I also appreciate uh, what Britain once was. Now, that being said, as an American, I don't necessarily have like the almighty authority to talk about how, oh, Britain's been in decline, Britain's been shit in the bed, even though, in my opinion, it kind of has. It's nice to see after people like Keir Starmer and the pussyfooting over there when it comes to dealing with crime and immigration, someone like Mr. Lowe here talking about it. Without further ado, I will let the man himself speak.
I have chosen to speak to you today from the farm because places like this represent what proper Britain is about. Hard work, responsibility, effort, duty, stewardship. This is the England I know, and this is the England that I love. On a farm...
A little bit of folksy appeal. He is using a farm. He's also equating certain aspects of the farm using metaphor and simile to what he sees Britain as. Like, that's what I get there. I agree. Like, that's what Britain once was. It's what Britain should be. It's what everywhere should be, in my opinion. But I'll shut up and let him continue.
You don't think in election cycles or headlines or polling. You think in seasons. You think in generations, in what you leave behind to those who come after you. And that's why, here on the farm, I am now launching Restore Britain as a national political party.
Okay. I have seen a little bit beyond this, but right there, I like how he shifts from the farm to restoring Britain, because he, once again, as he said it, he sees the farm as like the ideal Britain, what Britain should be, what Britain is in his eyes. And then he's shifting over to, I am launching the restoration of Britain from the farm, from what Britain should be. I like that. That's smooth. I like it.
I'm now going to dedicate my life to finding, organising, funding, and providing hundreds of qualified candidates to present to the British people at the next general election. This process has already started, with invitations being issued to patriots in aligned political parties, Reform, the Conservatives, the SDP, Advance, and more. In local politics, we will work in partnership with localised political parties, such as Great Yarmouth First, that have the best interests of their residents at heart, combining our forces at the next general election.
Ooh, that's one hell of a coalition. Like, I know Britain, as of right now, is a parliamentary system. So I'm not as well acquainted with that system of government in comparison to like the American system. But Ooh. Considering how bad Keir Starmer has really like dropped the ball, I think he has a really good chance with this. And it takes some brass cojones to actually say something, considering the fact that Britain isn't exactly known for its freedom of speech nowadays.
The men and women standing for Restore in that election will not be politicians. I promise you that. They will not be failed ministers.
Damn. Ooh, spicy words.
They will not be tainted by failures of the past. They will be from business, from the military, from science, from medicine, from education, from industry, representing real communities up and down the country. Every single one will be from well outside the existing political establishment, and every single one will understand the difficult decisions that need to be taken. Because there are no easy fixes. I'm not going to tell you comforting lies about the condition of our country. I have only ever been honest with the British people, and I will be straight with you now. What is necessary will be incredibly painful. But for the first time in a very long time, voters will have a genuine alternative which is truthful with them about the scale of what now has to be done. The first priority is to control who comes to our country, and more importantly, who stays in our country. Restore Britain will not just stop mass immigration, we will reverse it.
Oh, damn. Oh, okay. Okay.
Every single illegal migrant will be securely detained and then deported. The message will be unrelenting. If you are in this country without our permission, you will be removed. For the foreseeable future, far more people must leave Britain than arrive. If a foreign national is unable to speak English, lives in social housing, claims benefits, refuses to work, fails to integrate, commits crime, or even actively hates our way of life and wishes to do us harm, then they must leave or be made to leave.
Hold on. I just I need to just just to just to check. I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be. Yippee! He has not been arrested yet. Oh, far right, suck my nuts. But okay. Ooh, a lot of what he said there. A lot of what he said there is, in fact, pretty spicy. Ah.
Restore Britain will make our communities safe again for women and children. That I promise you. If that means millions go, then millions go. We're constantly told that the economy needs vast swathes of low-skilled migrants. We know that's simply not true. What we need.
Yeah, that's some of the same shit that they try to shovel over here in America. And let me tell you, no, we don't. There are very few instances where it's necessary. And actually, this is a secondhand anecdote. So, with a grain of salt. But when I was in college, I was going back to the dorms on a bus, and there was this older black gentleman, very, very polite, very well spoken. His name, I won't say his name, but basically, my buddy and I, we were bullshitting on the bus, and the gentleman asked, "Oh, you're talking about this and this. What do you think of this and this?" And I gave my piece, my buddy gave his, and he and I don't agree exactly on it. And the fine gentleman said, "Oh, okay, well, have you thought about it like this?" And I asked, "Oh, well, why do you feel that way?" And it was uh, between DeSantis and Trump at the time. It was, it would have been 20, oh, geez, it's been a while. It would have been like the primaries for the 2024 election between DeSantis and Trump. And I basically, my piece was I would prefer uh, Trump over DeSantis. Trump, we know his stances on things, and DeSantis, while I like what some of DeSantis says, I don't like exactly everything he says. I think Trump, we know Trump is a bull in a china shop, and I would prefer to know what that bull will do versus what DeSantis might do, because I don't know what he'll do. And the gentleman basically said, "Yeah, I agree. I'm from Florida. I would vote for Trump." And that's, as the conversation continued, the only, he explained that he doesn't like, or didn't like how certain DeSantis policies on immigration were enforced. He believed that it was too strict, and it actually, and he gave an example. He lived down in Florida, and he was by orange arbor, or not arbors, uh, acreages. Shit, what do apples have? That's gonna drive me nuts. Orchards. There we go. Not arbors. But he lived by an orange orchard, basically, and just because of how things were set up, there were people who would come in like seasonally, just seasonal immigration, work to collect the oranges as they fell, and they would do that for like a month or two, and then they would leave. And this was how it was done for a long time. And sure, there were locals that would do stuff that would help, but it was just such a large operation that there wasn't the supply, or rather the locals who knew of this and being aware of, like, oh, I can go over to Jim Bob's orange orchard and, get paid like $8.50 an hour to go pick up some oranges on the ground. Well, DeSantis's, and I'll get back to this in a moment, but DeSantis's policy with like really harsh, like no more immigration, like work, actually caused a huge loss in product, because like the people who usually would come in to help weren't there, and it was like the people who would normally be available to help America's side, there just wasn't enough people to fill in the gaps in such a sudden shift that it actually caused like a huge issue. And there was just that vacuum. Now, in my opinion, my personal belief is that that shouldn't have happened, because there should have been people available to help collect the oranges America side. Like, we shouldn't have had to import people to assist in that. And I understand that, there's only so many people available to do jobs like that. And there are certain limitations, but I still believe that we should try to provide as many jobs to the people nearby before we even begin to enable any sort of like seasonal work like that to like outside peoples, like outside of the country, no, what's a good way to put this? Basically, keep keep it indoors as much as you can. I understand that there will like be some, oh, we need some extra hands. Well, Jose and his family are willing to help. Okay, let's go get Jose. Like, I understand that. But shit like that, having, in the fine gentleman's words, having oranges rot on the vine or on the tree. He didn't say on the vine, but having them rot on the tree because there weren't people to go and get them and enough people to collect them before they would rot. I think, and I don't know, maybe he would agree with me on this. I didn't bring it up at the time, but I think it would be wiser to have, once again, the people stateside be available to assist in that. And once again, it's a seasonal job. I understand that, you're not going to be able to do it all year round. So having the immigration, which would be a seasonal thing, come in to assist works. But it still needs to be like majority stateside. And I think that's what he wants to do with this. What Mr. Lowe here wants is, we don't need a bunch of unskilled people necessarily. We need the opportunities to be saved for the British people. Like, British work is for the Brits before it is for anyone else. And I'm not saying that, like, oh, people can't come over here and they can't get jobs because they're immigrants. That's not what I'm saying. It is, if you're only coming over here for like 3 months, 2 to 3 months max, just to work. No. You stick around here all year. You have an all year round job if possible, or at least a most of the year round. You don't leave. You don't take the money out. You stick around. Like, I want that over seasonal. I want people who are able to do those seasonal jobs over immigrants coming over here to do those seasonal jobs. I would rather have American low skilled work over foreign low skilled work. And I'm not saying, absolutely none, but Americans first, much like how he's trying to restore Britain with Britain first. But instead of me putting words in the guy's mouth, I'll shut the hell up and let him speak.
Is to get millions of healthy Brits back into work. A radical overhaul of how welfare is delivered.
Ooh, we need some of that over here too.
Protecting those in genuine need, but not funding healthy shirkers to live off the back of hard-working men and women.
Yes, sir. Oh my gosh. This is a major issue over here in America too. And in my opinion, we maybe we need instead of Rupert Lowe, we have a Robert Lowe. A Robert Lowe guy come over here and say, "Hey, let's do this." Cuz Trump's been doing a lot. I think there could be a little bit more done. Like, I like the guy. I don't completely like him as a person. I think he's a bit of an ass. But I mean, hey, aside from him being an ass, I think he's doing a pretty decent job. I just wish he would do more. And it sounds like this guy is the kind of guy that would be doing more.
If you can work, you must work. It really is that simple. Restore Britain will be abundantly clear. If you consistently refuse work, then you will lose your benefits.
That's a major issue over here too in America. Like, for a while, and now I've never been on welfare, but everything that I understand about it is basically, if you are out of a job, if you are off of work, you can basically get that. And for a while it was just, oh, you don't have a job? Damn, that sucks. Anyway. And, oh, sorry. There we go. Oh, get out here. There we go. and you can see everything again. But that also is sort of something that needs to be further addressed over here. Me personally, uh, if you don't have anything actively medical and you are pursuing a job actively, then you can be on welfare until you get a job. And then the second you have your first day of work, bam, you're off. If you have some sort of medical issue and you are unable to work, I think that is fair to claim like disability on, which disability is a form of welfare. But there are some people who just take welfare money and take it and take it. And this does include and I'm using welfare and I'm using like not healthcare, but like words are hard. I just said it. But like medical, actually I didn't just say it. But I'm using like welfare kind of broadly, but any program that basically is if you're out of a job for medical or other reasons, and I'm not talking like disability, but you're out of a job sort of welfare, we really need to crack down on that. I've seen people who have abused that. And let me tell you, it is infuriating as someone who pays taxes. But I'm digressing. I'll shut the fuck up and let him speak.
We will punish indolence, and more importantly, we will reward success. We will provide vast economic incentives for men and women to start businesses, generate opportunities, build wealth, and create self-sufficient families. Standing here today on the...
I like I like how he specifies self-sufficient families, because over here, I'm gonna say over here in America, but we have a major problem with like, and this was caused by Clinton, the Clinton administration, but families that are not self-sufficient, that basically get tax incentives and bonuses due to certain lifestyle choices that have severely wounded communities. I'm not going to name names, but the Black communities specifically have like been really affected by that policy, the Clinton era policy. I like how he specifies self-sufficient families in order to prevent potentially something like that happening in the future. Because it is a problem, and it unfortunately has really it's shaken basically at this point in time 2 generations, like 1.5 at least. And you can see in like certain, I don't want to say certain demographics, but like certain school demographics, like city demographics, big cities are struggling. They, and other counterparts to that, ones that have a more self-sufficient family, don't have that same issue. And that I'm getting off topic, but I like how he specifies self-sufficient families. That way, just saying like strong families or like wealthier families doesn't get abused into the issue that we have over here. He means, from what I can see, like strong, happy families, connected families, families that are well bonded. And that's a good thing.
Self-sufficient families. Standing here today on the farm, I know exactly what it means to deal with energy bills, labour shortages, regulation, unproductive paperwork, planning restrictions, tax, and
how does that go?
regulation, unproductive paperwork, planning restrictions, tax,
Me too, buddy. Me too.
and endless uncertainty. The state has definitively become the enemy of the people. Restore Britain will burn away suffocating taxes on work and enterprise. We will slash unnecessary regulation. We will dismantle bloated quangos and the
What the fuck is a quango? Hold on, what the hell is a quango? Quango. What? An organization or agency that is financed by a government that acts independently of it. That's a thing? Quango, quasi-autonomous, and oh. So that's like the etymology of it? Quasi-autonomous non-governmental organization. Quango. Huh. Hmm. I've never heard of a quango before. I've only ever like really heard of NGOs. I've never heard that example. Like that word in this case.
the overbearing HR culture. We must crush parasitic Britain.
Based.
We will restore long-term, stable, logical policies
Also based.
so that businesses can plan and invest and grow again. But Restore Britain is about much more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about who we are as a nation and who we are as a people. Britain is not just an economy. Britain is not just an idea. Britain is not just a passport. Britain is a nation. Britain is a people, our people. And Restore Britain will never allow that to be erased. We will celebrate our Christian heritage and the identity that built and shaped this country. Responsibility, restraint, forgiveness, duty, and fairness. In short, a high-trust society. That will mean defending our culture. That will mean resisting the relentless creep of radical Islam. That
Oh. Oh wait.
will mean banning the burqa, outlawing Sharia law,
Okay,
blocking
yeah,
cousin
fair.
marriages, and reimposing our Christian-based rule of law. A Restore Britain government
Showing sheep after seeing that is wild. Oh my gosh. I didn't actually expect him to say like just flat out cousin marriages or like banning the burqa. Holy hell. Like banning Sharia law kind of makes sense because Sharia law, which for anyone who makes the argument that Sharia law, well, Sharia just means law. So saying law sounds stupid, like chai tea. Chai means tea, so you're saying tea. Well, no, you're specifying it in and of itself because you can say tea is a very broad term. When you say chai specifically, you understand, oh, it's this kind of tea. When you say law, well, what kind of law? Christian law, Hindu law, Korean law. Wow, there's a broad definition. But when you say Sharia law, it specifies. But getting off topic, oh my gosh, that is crazy that he would just flat out say that. You know, I want to double check. Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe arrested. Not arrested. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay.
would legislate to ensure that no halal or kosher slaughter on British soil.
No halal or kosher? Really?
This is Britain, and we will do things our way. This political party now exists for one.
Well, now he's definitely not gonna. He's not gonna win because he's going against the Jews.
One reason: to restore Britain, to make it a better, safer, and more prosperous place for British men and women to raise their families. It will be difficult and it will be painful, but I assure you, it is possible. I hope you will consider joining me on this journey and becoming a member of our party. It is our country, it is now our collective responsibility to act. Together, we will restore Britain. Thank you.
Ooh, a little bit of shift in meaning at the end there. I like it. He went from like the Restore Britain as a party, as like a movement, to the act of restoring it. That's smooth. Yeah. I really hope this works. I really hope he gets. I mean, he's gonna get the traction that he needs, but two things are gonna need to happen. Two things. One is there's gonna need to be a large enough movement that is willing to move with him. Come on. There we are. There we are. I don't know if you can see OBS lines on the screen, but two things are going to have to happen. There's going to need to be a large enough movement of people who are willing to go out and do stuff. There's, call this speculation, there's likely to be government backlash to this. Because let's be frank, the government, for those who don't know, I'm not a big fan of the government, 30-30. But the government's going to try to stop something like this in any way it can. You can make the argument that you're kind of seeing that in America with certain states, Minnesota, trying to enable without writing it down certain demographics of people who should not be voting, enabling them to vote. I'm looking at the 2023 driver's licenses for all little thingamajig there. Their stupid little act. The government will do whatever it can to prevent this. It will try to bloat up their numbers, to deflate your numbers. It will try to, it'll even go so far, especially in Britain, to go after and prosecute and to persecute the people who would be against the government. Because unfortunately, that's what Britain has become. It's become a cesspool of cheats, of thieves, of liars. And I'm so glad to see someone doing something about it. I've tried to record this a few times and just couldn't quite get it down right. But as an American, I hold a certain respect for British history. I understand that America could not be America without what Britain once was. Without Britain, what Britain was. And it is disheartening to see, as an American, what Britain has become. A little bit of an anecdote. I remember my great grandma. She was old. She was, not the fastest when it came to things. And I was young. I was like 3 or 4. But I remember distinctly her slowly devolving through dementia. And it was painful to see because I knew what she was. And I didn't understand at the time, like, what was wrong. Because anytime there was entertainment on the TV, she would whistle. Anytime there was music or something, she would clap and hum a completely different tune. And looking back on it, now understanding more fully what was happening, it it puts it into perspective. Looking at Britain, I see that same thing happening, and I can definitely see some of the people like me when I was a kid. They go out and they hear of these horrific knife attacks. They hear of these horrific car rammings and how when someone tries to speak up about children being trafficked, actively trafficked, they go out and nothing is being done. Nothing is actually being done. The government doesn't care about the little kids. It doesn't care about the women being stabbed, the women being assaulted. What was like at most 12,000 cases of, I'm going to use the euphemism of severe sexual assault, going from 12,000 to 60,000 over the course of about 5 years. There was a certain demographic that was brought in. I won't name names, but they were called out in this video. A certain Sharia law kind of peoples. And I can't help but imagine the poor, and when I say poor, I don't mean like monetarily, but the innocent Briton who hasn't been paying attention, who is blissfully ignorant of what is going on, going out on a walk with their wife and their kid, and seeing a man get stabbed, seeing a woman get stabbed, seeing their kid get stabbed, and the government says, whoop-de-doo. That's part of living in London. That's part of the big city. Well, it's happening everywhere. And it's high time, and I know I've meandered about, but it's high time something like this has happened. And it's long overdue. Getting to what I was trying to say. It is nice to see someone giving the people the ability to see more, the ability to understand what is happening, the ability to do something about it, instead of just seeing their Great Britain, their once incredible empire, with thousands, well, depending on how you want to quantify it, but hundreds, almost like debatably thousands of years worth of history, slowly devolving and going rancid. With this, they have the ability to do something. This sort of movement. And I really hope this goes somewhere. Will it? Maybe. Hopefully. But knowing the current British regime, I worry that it won't. I worry that it will do what it does. It will prevent. It will block. It will arrest. It will maybe even make accidents, make unfortunate victims, people who were a little too outspoken, potentially being on the wrong end of the very thing they were talking about. I hope that doesn't happen. And call me a naysayer, call me a conspiracy theorist, but stuff like that has happened. And with how they have called Rupert far right, which it's Britain. You say, hey, Britain is for Brits, and they'll call you far right. You can say basically anything naysaying, and they'll call you far right. I really... Ooh. There's a lot there, but to each their own, I guess. Yeah. The current UK government is fucked. It is. And I know I've said it before. I said it 4 times now, that something happens and he's able to make some change. That nothing happens to him, and that he's able to see through his change. Because, let's be frank, there are people in power who would love to see someone like him just vanish, just be sent away to a nice little prison cell. Some who would prefer it if he took the same route that Charlie Kirk did. And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he manages to fix Britain. But let's be frank, it'll take a lot. As the old saying goes, it will take a village. But enough of the naysaying. That will be it. Yes, I will shut the hell up. If you're in Britain, I doubt you will see this, but if somehow someone over in Britain sees this, I hope you will be able to support him. I hope the government doesn't block you. I hope the government doesn't shit can you and everyone involved with him like certain other governments not dissimilar to Europe, Canada, did with some people and some of their movements. But enough out of me. If you have liked this video, despite the dour turn that I took at the end, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not like the video, hit the dislike button. And if you liked it enough, hit the subscribe button and go ahead and leave a comment to what I might talk about next. And with all that being said, my name is Hastur. Later.